The Xenu people, since ancestral times, have been farmers, fishermen, hunters, and goldsmiths, and with a broad knowledge of Mother Earth, they have managed to domesticate crops adapting to different environmental and territorial conditions. However, over the years and due to the great loss of territories, a problem that has worsened during the last century, much of this ancestral knowledge linked to the agricultural culture of the people has been disappearing along with their seeds. For the Xenus, seeds are a fundamental part of their culture, and with their loss, not only has part of their ancestral tradition disappeared, but also the customs of their people have been affected. In response to this situation, councils and organizations decided to work towards conservation and created agroecological seed banks, with the aim of recovering and safeguarding native and Creole seeds, guaranteeing the autonomy and food sovereignty of the different reserves. We traveled to the municipality of San Antonio de Palmito in the department of Sucre in Colombia, to meet the agroecological seed producers of the Cabildo Menor Indígena de Media Sombra, where we will learn about their agricultural practices, their cosmogonies, and the importance of fruits such as corn for their lives. The agroecological seed banks are created with the objective of safeguarding the cultural identity of the Xenu indigenous people. The seed bank was born out of the need to establish a site or a group of people who are in charge of saving the seeds, not just any seeds, because they are native seeds. They are ancestral seeds that our ancestors have left us as an inheritance. And well, that is something that we have been defending for the last 10 years or so, since the declaration of the transgenic free memory. With organizational processes of safeguarding the grassroots organizations, we can achieve that the count was declared transgenic free territory. Because of this, the problem that we have been seeing in other countries of many multinational companies that sell the seeds, and well, I get to see any technological package. This is why we have been seeing the problem in other countries of many multinational companies that sell the seeds, and then we get to see no technological package, corn seeds, bean seeds, root tuber seeds, etc. So the seed bank was created with this objective. With the objective of safeguarding our own seeds, which is what characterizes us as an indigenous people, which is part of our culture and our food base, is part of our diet. This was done because we saw the need that the seed was being lost. We no longer sow seed. We ourselves are also losing the native seeds. So other institutions came. Our colleagues from Implant started to do some research with some young people, and we thank them for that. They also started to work to investigate why it was being lost, the needs we had. So from there it was achieved. They got some projects and started to water the seed again, to look for it wherever there was, because it was almost lost. And thanks to God to them, today there is already an abundance of seed, because almost 60% or 70% is sowing the seed more, the other is sown to commercialize it, and the Criollo is sown to keep because it is the one that is preserved, it is the one that endures. Since I was 9 years old, we have been working a little bit with the conservation of the seeds of the Xenu ethnic group. They are ancestral seeds. My role in this process is to be able to transmit this knowledge so that it is not lost from generation to generation. All this ancestral and cultural knowledge that we have inherited, I feel responsible for being able to conserve and transmit this knowledge. Because it is part of our ancestral legacy, We are the seeds of the Xenu people. That is why. This whole process of conservation and replication of the seed is so important and vital for the conservation not only of our knowledge and our culture, but also of our sovereignty and food security. Well, what is saved is corn, because it is the variety that we have defended the most in these years. What is corn was the main one. It can also be saved in yams. Cassava varieties can be safeguarded, which are also several, the bean varieties, the varieties of caraota, the sesame varieties are the crops that mainly sustain us as indigenous people, the rice that we also have native varieties that are Creole, that we do not depend on going to buy from the agriculture and livestock company and that we do not go to buy chemical inputs because we cannot apply chemicals. It is a great characteristic of agroecological systems, that we cannot apply chemicals because if we apply chemicals, we become like the others, like the other producers, and that is where we lose interest, and there we stop being agroecological and become conventional, and if we are conventional we are like any other person in the world, we stop being indigenous. We would stop taking care of the land, we would stop taking care of the soil. Have you noticed that in everything we walk on, the soil is not totally bare? Because we cannot leave Mother Earth uncovered, because knowing that we are in areas with slopes, when the rains come, the winds, if the soil is uncovered there will be great damage due to erosion, we lose the vegetable layer, the loss of nutrients, the desertification of the soil due to the same factors, so we have to know how to use the soil without damaging it. We conserve the mountain but at the same time we are producing. There are places where there are no crops, you can see that there are crops over there, but there are places where there are no crops. These are a reserve for flowers, for that fauna, that flora, which will also help us in the pollination process because many of the insects that are here, the bees, the bumblebees, help in the pollination of our crops, right, and they are healthy insects, they are healthy helpers of Mother Earth, because they, that pollen that they are carrying, when they look for nectar to feed themselves, and they also give me the healthy pollen will not contaminate them. They say that our Creator is a belief, our own. With corn dough he made the bodies and gave them the divine breath. That is a belief. It is a story that an ancestor told me a while ago. Or it is said that he created us and he took the dough and the stone. He took the corn, he took the dough with 2 stones that were ground before. That is already lost. It is being lost. That is why in the resguardo you see brown indigenous people, yellow indigenous people, because the variety of corn is different, so just as we see indigenous people of different colors, so there are corn of different colors. There is black corn, Carayaco corn, there is egg corn, there is yellow Carayaco corn, striped Carayaco corn, there is pano corn, there is yellow and white corn. There is a great quantity of corn and many of those that have been lost. I am going to show you this seed. The seeds of the eggs. For many years we as indigenous people have been conserving it, because this comes from generation to generation. Then we use it to make the bun, the mazamorra, the chicha, the arepa. From all this corn, from this other corn we always conserve it because we have it as an ancestral use and custom. Also when there is a wake, here an indigenous person died, Then this is made the chocolate. It will be offered to the people who accompany him. We also use it for the chocolate. This other corn is also used for sustenance, that is why this seed is not almost moth-eaten. Because we also pick it in good weather. When the moon is new we cannot pick the seeds because the seeds are damaged. The weevils fall. So that is why these seeds are conserved, and because we as uses and customs are reservoir people in the seeds we keep the seed. We always conserve it well so that the seed is not lost. This corn is the Cuba corn. This corn is Creole red leaf. This corn is also used for the animals. To feed the animals, also for sustenance. Because when you plant a lot of corn you sell it. And from that money you buy clothes. You buy other things you need, other food. We collect the hair of this corn. We use it as medicine. When there are problems with calculus, it does not suffer from calculus. These are taken in the mornings and it makes the calculus come out. This is the black corn. This black corn is medicinal. This black corn is as tasty as the mazamorra, the arepa, the chicha. Whatever we do with it, it is also medicinal. When a person has diarrhea here we use it as medicine. We take the corn, roast it, grind it and it becomes powder. Then we take it and prepare it and give it with a medicine, to stop the diarrhea. Also the corn hair is mixed with another fruit, and it is also used for calculus. That is why we as indigenous people always keep the Creole corn. So we call it the bad Creole corn. This other corn is blue corn. This blue corn is also very tasty, it is different from this one. Sometimes you make a mistake and you look at the black corn. Not the black corn is different because it has a red tip. And the blue corn has a white tip. And it has less flavor. The taste is different from the negrito corn. So for that reason we, as an indigenous people, have their seeds I think, and now we continue conserving them. There are other kinds of seeds that fortunately today we do not have them, but we do have them in our reserves. Everything you see here, there is nothing transgenic. Everything is Creole. Everything is from our indigenous race. This is for us here in this town to maintain. Because just as we maintain our culture, because it is a culture to have it. So that is why today we are showing you this kind of corn seeds. It is important to emphasize that the first or seed savers of the Xenu culture were women. Because the man went to the forest and sowed and harvested. But it was the woman who did the transformation in the house. Who is in charge of the household here in this culture is the woman. So preserving the seed for the woman means that in 3 months her children will have constant food. I think that is where the idea of preserving the seed comes from. From the need that tomorrow I can have food. So they have played a very important role, and most of the seed savers that exist in the Xenu territory are women. And they are women who have all this knowledge that was not learned, but that they learned it in an empirical way. That they explored it themselves, and they did it with that need, to give food and nourishment to their children. Because here there is no definition that the man is from the field and the woman from the house. Here women are also warriors. They have been one of those who have put on the shirt to save the seeds. Because women have been let's say one of the drivers of these processes in the organization. I believe that 60% are women. Most of them are women. They are the ones who put on the shirt, and let's say they are the ones who have taken a washerwoman to the top. We have the characteristic that our food is based almost entirely on a natural way. Here you get the candida, the sweet potato. You eat the babilla. We produce it, we preserve it, and we consume it. Everything is done naturally, and here it is because in the communities people have a very direct relationship with nature. They know perfectly well that the land does not belong to us, but that we belong to the land. So every day we try to take advantage of each one of those resources that they give us to be able to subsist and remain in time. I think that makes us very characteristic. Besides the fact that the Xenu people do not keep many roots of their ancestral culture. But the seed in particular is identified as the only way that we have to be able to continue existing in time. We are nothing without food. Here you do not see an Indian eating a sausage. No, here we eat everything natural. And you see a man 100 and something years old. And still that man goes to the bush to clean, and that is not a gift. That is a product of the food that we have from nature, which is the one who does not provide it. So for us the corn is a god for us as if it were a god. And the babilla for us is as if it were a god. That is mixed together too. Then I distinguish myself by my race, by my taste, by my customs, by my traditions. That is why I distinguish myself as a Siena people, as I am saying all people have their uses and customs. It is every generation of people they have their uses and customs. For example, you have your uses and customs. Over there they eat the arepa with salt, we eat it with salt, it is a custom of ours. Over there they eat the clear corn with salt, we do not eat it here with milk. Right, then we have the use and we have the different customs. That is why I distinguish myself as a Xenu people. If these seeds that we are taking care of, which is the patrimony of our ancestors, which is our legacy, which is the people that we are fighting for and for which we are educating the youth to take care of, if these seeds disappear, we would disappear as an ethnic group too. Because this is part of our identity. We would become common people because this characterizes us. They talk about the indigenous people, and when they talk about the indigenous people they already include the care of the land, the corn. So if this disappears, our food security disappears. That is why this is our sovereignty. We are sovereign because we produce what we want to eat. You go to the restaurant with money, bring me the menu, they tell you that they offer no. And you have to buy what they sell, but we with sovereignty, we say I want to eat a black roll, or I want blue corn, or I want mazamorra today. Today I want an apple tree mazamorra, right? You decide, you are sovereign in your territory, you are a guy who wanted in your sovereignty assured, so it is called food security and sovereignty because we can command what we want to eat, and how we want to eat it. So if we lose what we have here, what we see here, and what we have in the different communities, we lose our autonomy. Yes, we become dependent. Because every harvest we would have to go to the agropecuary, buy the seeds and sow, as those seeds are hybrids they will not be useful to sow the next harvest, we would have to buy the commercial seed again and sow it again, and so it would be a cycle, we would become like the producers. Only that the big producers have their big seasons and they get their economic profit. And we do not produce for big economic profit. We are producing right now for self-support, and to put in the surplus naturally, but not, for, let's say that the 30 hectares of monoculture. No, because monoculture also brings its disadvantages and its damage to the land. That is why when you saw the passage through here you saw the cultivated crop, you saw the yam, you saw the yucca, you saw the mataraton. A leguminous plant that helps the soil to capture the nutrients nitrogen, right? You saw the bellflower that helps the bee to feed and produce honey, and then pollinate. You saw in the missionary plant, that if a person is killed by a snake, he cut the root, Ray made the poultice, put it on him, made the beesly and gave it to the sick person, to the stung person. And so on, it is a complete system. That is why it is something ecological, it is something that sustains us, an agroecological system that is sustainable, because here we find everything, from food to medicine. So if we lose this, what we have been talking about the seeds, we are losing the autonomy of the territory, we lose control of what is ours, the enemy would come in and sell what he wants. It is what is not convenient for us. Before I used to say that one grew and developed by leaving the territory. Today I realize that life is in the territory. That this is where we can cultivate not only food but also our lives. I see here, for example, in 5 years, I imagine myself in my house with my chickens and my animals, here in the territory planting food, planting native seeds and living here because this land gives you the means to subsist and live well. To live tasty, as one calls it. And 5 years from now my responsibility, and this is how I see it, is to be able to continue transmitting this knowledge not only to my children, but also to my nephews, to my brothers and sisters, so that they in turn can do the same. Because, tomorrow, God willing, it will not happen, the seed is lost, not only the seeds are lost, but it is an ancestral legacy, it is all the work that the seed keepers, the seed guardians, my parents, my neighbors have had to do in order to preserve that seed. And the seed is not only a grain, it is the whole life and the permanence of the Xenu people as such. Corn for us is something sacred. It is sacred because it is our food. It is to demonstrate our culture, to have that corn ourselves. For us it is sacred to have native corn. And that is why we go ahead with everything that is native. Because first it does not prevent diseases. Because the seeds that are already transgenic, they are not healthy, they come with chemicals, and the chemicals produce many problems. They produce pests, so that is why we always conserve the land. We conserve it in this way. Here the land is almost never burned. It is very rare here people scrape and pile up the little bit where it is. But it is very rare, as before the land was burned, one killed the land oneself. Today the new generation almost never kills the land. Although it is mechanized, it is not killed, it is not burned. And where the raw land is cultivated, it is almost never burned. It is collected and piled up, which is better. Because the leaf gives it a lot of strength. There is a difference. That is why Mother Earth is taken care of. Where it is sown and not burned, it produces more, the cob is bigger, the bush rises with more strength. For that reason one conserves the land. The Xenu people is a millenary people. A people that has been forged from the struggle of the land and the territory. A people that day by day has maintained that even though it has not preserved many things of its customs, it is a people that has been maintained from the collective struggle, not from the individual struggle. It is a people that has resisted not only to the colony, but also to all the internal wars that we have had in Colombia. That is a people that has transformed the negative things that the colonization the conflict, the post-conflict left them to recover and work from their environment, from what makes it characteristic. And it is that here the people do not speak individually, but that here there is a collective clamor, and a collective construction that day by day is being forged, and that we still remain in struggle, although they say that the Xenu Indians do not exist anymore. It is false, the Xenu Indians are here, and we are present every day, and we build the country we want from what is ours, from our customs, from the Vuelshio hat, from the traditional seed, from our food. We build this country that we all dream of, and we are part of it.